Was this a thoughtless betrayal intended to make Jim look as bad as possible, or was it just a small gesture gone wrong? Insiders are accusing Cameron now that the footage of Chrissy Leck's secret and intimate relationship with Jim Jones has come to light. Was Cameron going too far? His decades-long relationship with Jim Jones could have been ruined by what transpired, and it's not a PR gimmick this time. James is bursting on all platforms rather than keeping quiet. We're now discussing backroom negotiations, lost possibilities, and a brotherhood that might have been a fake all along. It's no longer just about the video. Have you ever witnessed the real-time transformation of two monarchs into adversaries? Isn't a breakup, rather, it's a deconstruction of the dipset. Trust me when I tell you that what you're about to hear will change your opinion of Cameron forever, because it's not just shocking, it's an unpleasant fact that you won't be able to ignore once you hear it. This is where the end begins. Cameron wouldn't dare violate the unwritten boundary that separates loyalty, street brotherhood, and the joint rise to hip-hop royalty. But it turns out that loyalty dies in silence, because what transpired was not just treachery, but nuclear. Let's take a look back. A private video featuring Chrissy Leck, Jim Jones's longtime partner, ride or die, and a highly respected matriarch figure, was unexpectedly posted on a suspicious burner Twitter account with no followers, no tags, and no followers. It all started with a leak, but this one was especially graphic and emotionally distressing. Before anyone could confirm or deny the clip's authenticity, Twitter was already saying, "Cam did it." Why would Cameron leak a video like that? At first, people thought it was a deepfake. Then they thought it was old footage. But within hours, Chrissy's face was trending. Detective mode edits started to appear, and TikTok reactions went viral. What could he possibly stand to gain by making such a private matter public? Is there another issue at hand? Or was it retaliation or spite? But there was constant conflict, backdoor economic dealings, power struggles, and subtle rivalry over who was really in charge of the crew. As their empire grew, more subtle jabs and interviews exposed a deeper and darker festering beneath the surface of their so-called brotherhood. Cameron was the charming brain, while Jim Jones was the heart and street muscle. Since this wasn't the first time that Cam and Jim had a falling out, let's take a moment to talk about history. Cryptic Instagram posts, passive-aggressive verses, and then the explosive moments. Like the notorious 2017 Hot 97 interview, where Cam disclosed everything from financial betrayals to internal rivalry. Jim sobbed, but Cam remained composed. Core audience of Dipset knew it was a wound that would never heal, but fans were confused. We return to that trauma in 2025, but this time it involves Chrissy, family, and not music. As Jim's partner and a savvy businesswoman who made sincere moves, Chrissy was a fixture on the scene. There were persistent allegations that Cam didn't, like that he thought Chrissy was dictating Jim's business choices. Some even said that Cam made an effort to convince Jim to become less domesticated and to stop concentrating on music. In hindsight, that may have been the beginning of the long-simmering animosity that accumulated over decades. And with a single leak, Cameron may have just let all that old animosity explode in the most disturbing way possible. At the time, it seemed like innocuous barbershop chatter. The video was recorded over a decade ago, according to people who talked to us under anonymity for their own safety. Somehow, it was a private moment that was never meant to be seen. But this is the point at which suspicions begin to grow. According to one insider, the film was stored on a now-defunct Dipset hard drive that only a few people could access. When the crew parted ways in the midst of the 2010 upheaval, Cam is rumored to have taken the wheel. This makes it even more startling. Intentional retaliation or coincidence? At a Rock Nation brunch, Jim and Jim were spotted together, chatting like old friends, posing for pictures, and even making hints about a possible reunion tour. If Cam's camp was the source of this leak, was it premeditated? Or was he just being tactful in preparation for a bombing? Jim's silence was short-lived. Jim Jones posted a black screen to his Instagram story with the simple words, "I see you," less than 24 hours after the video went viral. Fans freaked out, leaving. Comments like, "It's Cam, he did it." Dipset is dead forever. Jim is going solo. Watch. The actual clapback happened on IG Live in an unfiltered live stream called I See You. In just a few minutes, that drew in over 1.2K watchers. Without a public relations campaign or a script, Jim let loose with only pain and rage. "This man has been jealous of me since day one, regardless of your opinion." When Jim spat into the camera, he said, "You don't touch family. You don't play with my woman." The video wasn't shared by accident, and viewers were crying. Even devoted Dipset fans were picking sides. But Jim wasn't done yet. He started bringing up old business. "This is the same guy who warned labels I was unreliable and refused to give me money for my 2011 tour." The internet was now rife with opinion pieces, podcasts, and Twitter threads debating whether Jim was overreacting or if Cam had really gone too far. Cam's silence, which is essentially an admission in the court of public opinion, made the situation worse because there was not a single tweet, comment, or denial. "I was defeated by this bunch, and now you want to blame Chrissy. You are a complete clown." Toes Down in All Storms made a unique approach by archiving all of the images that included Cam, unfollowing him on all platforms, and posting an enigmatic message on her account. We all recognized that the absence of names and faces was treachery on a soul level, but some of the scars were too deep. As the situation worsened, an unknown source exposed something even more nefarious. Purported text exchanges between Cam and an unnamed industry acquaintance, but a scheme to leak something spicy in order to damage Jim's reputation prior to a significant business transaction. If those texts are real, it's career sabotage, not just small-time drama. Perhaps Cam knew this day would come and was ready to burn it all down, but the worst part is that he hasn't refuted them yet. Which begs the questions of whether he really did it, why he isn't defending himself, and why he doesn't say anything as his name is being dragged through digital hell. And when we believed that the turmoil had peaked, an even more surprising event occurred, and everything started to spiral out of control. Jim Jones thought he had exposed every secret Cameron might have been concealing. But then fresh levels of betrayal started to emerge like a web of deception. Yes, the texts were authentic, but this is where things get a little heated. No, it wasn't simply the video that was leaked. These alleged messages between Cam and an unnamed industry insider, according to those acquainted with the situation, paint a far harsher picture. In them, Cam talks about how he planned a whole smear campaign to damage Jim's reputation in the business, in addition to ruining his brand with a single video leak. The right amount of dirt can break him down. Let's hit him where it hurts. His woman, his money, his fans. That's right, his fans. One of the alleged messages stated. The message continued by detailing how this industry friend allegedly advised Cam to keep it low-key, but Jim's Instagram Live completely changed the game and the conversation, making it about the entire legacy of Dipset rather than just the video. The public's perception of the crew was about to take a severe hit. With both fans and industry insiders starting to wonder if all those years of devotion were just a botched business deal. Everyone was a detective. Is Cam responsible for this? Was he trying to force Jim out of Dipset all along? Could this be a calculated move to regain control of the group? If Cam did leak that video as part of a larger scheme to destroy Jim, it would be the most calculated move in hip-hop history. Imagine taking down a brother with the most intimate betrayals, hurting not only his career but also his personal life. In the process, all while hiding behind silence. His silent treatment was his power move, because when Cam went silent, He knew the world would turn against him, and he was sitting back enjoying the show. But this is where it got ugly. Fans immediately started looking into Cam's past, and some unsettling patterns started to emerge. In a Twitter thread that sent shockwaves across the internet, fans unearthed multiple old photos of Cam with other rappers who had been discarded once they were no longer useful. It was clear that Cam wasn't just known for making hits. He was also known for creating enemies. Some sources claim that the leaks went beyond Chrissy's video, revealing financial documents, private messages, and pictures that were leaked to bloggers and suspicious websites eager to spread the rumors. The person responsible for the leaks, you guessed it, was an unnamed third party who had previously been linked to both Jim and Cam. But here's where it gets crazy. This third party, who we'll call the Puppet Master, allegedly contacted Jim and Cam separately, offering them exclusive interviews and deals, and even trying to set up a rumored reunion between the two. The catch is that they wanted to control the story, profit from the feud, make it public, and turn it into a spectacle. The Puppet Master's objective was clear: to make the conflict so intense that the two ex-brothers would never be able to reconcile. It wasn't just business, it was personal. It was the ultimate betrayal. It's at the core of it all. Who is actually in control of the situation, Cam or Jim? Or is there something much darker at work? Regardless of the truth, we can't ignore one thing. The fallout from this scandal won't just affect their relationship. When we say public, we mean explosive. Because when two legends fail in the most catastrophic way possible, the entire industry trembles. This is the last chapter in this incredible story. And the destruction isn't just personal, it's public. It's not just about Jim and Cam anymore. It's about the entire culture of loyalty, betrayal, and ambition that keeps the hip-hop world together. And it will affect their legacies, their music, their fans, and their lives. And we've only touched the surface. Though you might think these are just rumors, these are people deep within their circles, including publicists, managers, and their former label. The financial consequences of this betrayal were starting to hit harder than any lyric or diss track could. And sources close to both Cam and Jim, who remembered having their hands in various lucrative business ventures, began to leak a disturbing narrative. Both men were losing a lot of money. As for Cameron, it turns out that his attempt to rebuild his solo career hit a huge roadblock. With business partners withdrawing one after another, unsure if siding with the rapper was the right thing to do. Executives have been feeling the effects of this feud in the industry, and it's bad. For example, Jim Jones reportedly had multiple endorsement deals put on hold indefinitely. And his partnership with a well-known luxury brand was put on hold, because the brand couldn't afford the scandal. That was damaging his reputation and didn't want to be associated with the ongoing drama surrounding his personal life. The actual business side of the fallout, the lawsuits, followed by a flurry of accusations, counterclaims, and rumors about unpaid contracts, shaky financial dealings, and even rumors that Cam was being sued by a former label executive over alleged mismanagement of funds, made it clear that the drama was no longer just about the music but about survival, and that Cam and Jim had to make some serious decisions quickly or risk losing everything. Settlements first came Jim Jones, who, according to insiders, had formally sued Cameron for defamation, claiming a mix of slander, conspiracy, and emotional distress as a result of the leaked video and the public assaults on his private life. But even more shocking was the rumor that Jim was demanding a public apology from Cam and millions of dollars in damages, a claim so bold that it caught even the most seasoned lawyers off guard. But Cameron was not going to let this go unpunished, so he counterclaimed, saying that Jim had been extorting him for years, that Jim had stolen money and influenced business transactions through their friendship, and that now he was seeking a large payout for himself. According to legal experts, this case could drag on for years, and as each day passed, the public's opinion of both men continued to deteriorate. As the bombshells came, fans started to dig deeper into the story, and The more they learned, the more their loyalty was shaken. The underdog narrative was in full force, but it was hard to ignore the growing division between the two factions of Dipset supporters after the bombshells. At first, fans weren't sure who to believe. Some sided with Jim, saying Cam had crossed a line, while others claimed Cam had good reason to feel betrayed after years of watching Jim play second fiddle. Leaked footage of Jim's emotional breakdown surfaced after the video leak went public, including a particularly unsettling clip in which he asked himself, "Is this how they really feel about me after everything we've been through?" His only public statement was a tweet that said, "Sometimes the truth hurts, but it has to be said." He said this while staring at his phone screen, while Cam remained unconcerned and fell silent again. There was no apology or explanation, just a calculating, icy remark that only served to fan the flames. He was aware of the effect it would have. Discovered a different side of him, a crafty, self-centered businessman who would do anything it took to keep power. While some fans deserted ship, others turned to social media to support their beloved artist. The industry saw that their once shared unity was eroding and that their authority was decreasing as they argued more, whether they could ever repair the harm or if their actions permanently damaged the legacy they built together. Both men were at fault. Let's now discuss Chrissy, as she is at the center of this. Of course, Jim's longtime partner, Chrissy Lumpkin, was at the center of the whole fight. Her name was also spoken in the public eye as the drama progressed, and it became clear that she was complicit in this catastrophe. Fans didn't realize at the time, though, that Chrissy wasn't merely a victim. There were allegations that she was aware of the treachery before anyone else. Some even asserted that she had been urging Jim to move against Cam after seeing the tape before it was released to the public. Regardless of if that was true, Chrissy's involvement in this controversy simply deepened the enigma. Did she have a reason for keeping quiet while everything fell apart? Or was she only a piece in this game? It was about their families, their reputations, and all they had spent years building. And that was the saddest part. It was no longer just about the men. Individuals who had previously stood by them were suddenly moving aside to avoid being caught in the crossfire of an out-of-control rivalry. And the longer this continued, the more individuals who had previously backed them were pulled into the repercussions. Now, we have to inquire, is a reconciliation possible? Is this quarrel truly the end of the Dipet period? Or can Jim and Cam ever make amends? Their reputations are not the only thing at risk. Their place in hip-hop history, books, is also in doubt, putting the legacy they have accumulated over the years in danger. But as the lawsuits mount, public sentiment shifts, and the music industry waits. The question remains, is there any way out of this predicament? However, one thing is for sure, the last chapters have not yet been completed, so the story is not yet complete. This epic struggle of brotherhood, betrayal, and shattered relationships is topped with the truth behind the Jim Jones and Cameron conflict, the shattered bond, and the explosive fallout that is roiling the hip-hop world. The true question, though, is who is at fault here? Was it Jim's own ambition and greed that ignited the fire? Or was it Cam's betrayal that set everything in motion? In the remarks section below, is Dipset's rule coming to an end? Or do you think they can ever resolve their differences? Please remember to use the like button and share this video if you like this in-depth look at the turmoil. That concludes today's incredible tale. The drama is far from over, and the entire world is watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I want to know your thoughts before you go. To pursue Cameron in this manner, or did Cameron receive bad treatment in all of this? Since I'm reading every remark, I'd like to know if you support Jim or Cam, or if you believe that this whole situation has been a complete disaster from the start. Remember to like, comment, and share this video to keep the conversation going, because we're just getting started and you want to be here for the real tea. As always, we have the truth and aren't scared to share it. So until the next time, keep your eyes open and remain listening. For what reason are you waiting? To be the first to know when we release the next wild story, click the subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what comes next, I promise. In the next one, I'll see you.